And I think super. We can open the meeting with a prayer. Is Tammy on the line? Tammy, you on the line? Sandra, would you do a prayer for us?
Absolutely. I'll be more than happy to do that. If we would bow our heads as we go to the throne of grace. This evening, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. Father, we are so grateful to have so many of us out this evening on this Zoom call to have this town hall with this Escambia County Democratic Black Caucus as we host Representative Chris. We thank you right now for the proceedings that are going to go forth. We ask you to bless those that they are in order. We ask you to bless each one that are on the call this evening. Bless their families as well. We ask you to please bless these United States of America that is being led by President Biden. We ask you to bless the president of this organization as well. We ask you right now to forgive us for our sins. In Jesus' name we pray, and for his sake. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Nice prayer, Sandra. Very nice prayer. Do the Pledge of Allegiance next on our agenda, okay, in unison. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America,
to the republic for which it
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm going to defer to Derek Scott for a second. He's an IT high-tech man. Derek's going to give the protocol for the day's Zoom meeting. Derek, you want to chime in, please?
Yes, thank you so much, President Gant, for that. Good evening, everyone. For those that did not catch it earlier, I first want to say welcome to the Escambia County Democratic Black Caucus's October General Body meeting, and specifically our town hall with gubernatorial candidate Representative Charlie Crist. Thank you all for attending, and we certainly appreciate it. Just so everyone is familiar with the flow of this evening's meeting, we will begin, as you see now, in our standard gallery view format. Once Representative Chris begins his presentation and discussion, we will switch to a webinar style format where he will be spotlighted in that process. We've allocated about 50 minutes, that is between the presentation and question and answer. During this period, I'm going to ask and just kind of make sure that everyone is in fact muted, so we don't have any background noise or otherwise unnecessary interruption. If you do have any questions of Representative Chris, what I will ask you to do is please make sure that you submit them privately in chat. For those unaware, you can select the chat button. Once it opens right above the text box, it does say to everyone, please make sure you select either Escambia County Democratic Black Caucus or myself, Derek Scott, and we will make sure that we get all of the questions that have been in the chat answered for you. Once everything is completed, we will then go back to our normal standard format, which would include any new business that we have for today. Before I get started, are there any questions that anybody has regarding what I just mentioned? If not, I will turn the floor back over to President Gant.
Thank you, Derek, for that information. My job is to introduce Congressman Charlie Crist for today's town hall meeting. He needs no introduction. We know who Charlie Crist is, a man of integrity for the people. He fight for those who can't fight for themselves to better improve our state and our community. And we support Charlie Crist and applaud him for what he's done over the years and is doing now. So without any further delay, your arm, Mr. Crist, is your floor.
Mr. President, thank you very much, Fred. It is an honor and a pleasure to be with you in Escambia, and I understand that maybe a few other counties have joined in this evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to visit with you this evening. And I wanted to touch on a few things, and then I look forward to your questions. I am running for governor of Florida because I know that Florida deserves better. I love Florida. I love her with all my heart. I love our people. We're a great state. and we deserve the kind of leadership that a great state should have. We don't have it right now. And I know I'm preaching to the choir and you understand this, but let me just go down a few things and start with the lack of leadership in respect to COVID. Governor DeSantis has been an embarrassment. He just held another press conference this morning near my hometown of St. Petersburg in Clearwater, saying that he wants to hold a special session to make sure that mask mandates are not upheld by any locality, by any private business, what have you. I'm sure we'll all be able to read more about that tomorrow, but it's just another grab of power by this governor. And, you know, traditionally, Republicans have always said that the government that is closest to the people governs best. He complains about President Biden, and then he does the kind of things to our local governments that he's complaining about, except President Biden's right and he's wrong. And so it's unbelievable what we've seen over this past year and a half. You know, we have now almost 58,000 of our fellow Floridians have lost their lives. That's about the same number of people, Americans, who lost their lives in the Vietnam War. It's that bad. And we're just one state. It's really hard to watch. And so I'm not watching. I've jumped into this campaign. I announced back in May. Very proud of our efforts so far. Visited the Panhandle several times already, just since that beginning on May 4th. Always good to be with you. And I think it's so fundamentally important to visit North Florida, to not forget it, and to not, take for granted that it's very difficult for Democrats there. Sure, it's difficult. That's okay. But all we have to do is just improve our margins a little bit in each of these great counties in North Florida, and we win these elections instead of not. And so I'm dedicated to doing that. That's why on the second day of my campaign, I was in Pensacola, Florida. The third day, Tallahassee. The fourth day, Jacksonville. I understand how important North Florida is, and I'll be there over and over again because it's a joy to visit with you. I wanted to talk about a few things directly related to the African-American community, to people of color, and what a Crist administration would do if elected next November, only just over a year ago. I can't believe it. It's going to be here fast. But to reflect back on what I did as governor before, direct impact into the African-American community that I'm very proud of. And people ask me all the time, they say, Charlie, so you served as governor for 4 years. What's the one thing you're most proud of you were able to accomplish in that 4-year period? Well, I'll tell you the story. And I was talking to the reporter that brought it about this morning. An Associated Press reporter named Brendan Farrington was with me 1 week before I won the election for governor back in 2006. We were in Jacksonville. We are North Florida, ironically. And he said to me, he said, Charlie, if you win the election 1 week from today, we're just 1 week out, remember, he said, if you win it, would you commit today that you would fight for automatic restoration of rights of former felons, as they were called then, returning citizens, as we say today? Would you fight for their automatic restoration of rights if they were nonviolent? And I thought about the question. Remember, I'm a Republican at the time. I thought about the question and I realized, you calculate in your mind very quickly what you're being asked. Of course, with 1 week to go in the campaign, I was exhausted. I'm running on fumes. But at any rate, be that as it may, I understood the question and I understood the ramifications of it. That if I said yes, probably my former Republican friends were not going to be too happy, thinking that a lot of those voters that would get their rights restored may in fact be voting Democratic. And that may be true, but it didn't matter to me. So I answered him in the affirmative. And I said, yes, Brendan, if I win next Tuesday, I will commit to you today that I will fight for automatic restoration of rights. Well, the next week I won. And then in January, after that November election, got sworn in, of course, in Tallahassee, and then started working right away on trying to make this change happen. There were a lot of things we had to work on then. I remember calling a special session right after I'd been inaugurated to address an issue that's starting to creep up again, property insurance rates. So we did that. And then I got about the business of trying to get automatic restoration. And we were able to do it with the help of the cabinet. And I got to give Alex Sink credit. She was pivotal in making that come to pass. And as a result of that change, that one change, 155,000 former felons or returning citizens got their rights restored. The opportunity to vote, the opportunity to get a business license, the opportunity to be welcomed back into society. And as I used to always say, who among us doesn't deserve a second chance? Wouldn't it be nice to have a governor again that has compassion for our people, who actually cares about them, who believes in forgiveness? And so after I had answered in the affirmative to that reporter back in Jacksonville the week before the election, I started getting phone calls from my former Republican friends. Charlie, how could you do this? This probably is going to advantage Democrats going forward in Florida. Ironic, now I am one, but be that as it may, I thought that, you know what? And I would say this to them on the phone. It really comes down to one word for me. And it's because of how I was raised by my mother and my father, how I was raised in my church, how my parents raised my three sisters and me. They raised us to believe in forgiveness. And I would say to them, you remember forgiveness, don't you? Pretty important tenet, that is taught to us in our church, and any place where we go to pray. That is a common tenet, the idea, the notion of forgiveness and compassion and decency. And so that's one thing I wanted to reiterate and share with you. Another really involves why I became a Democrat and President Obama. And this was in 2008. This is the first time that then Senator Obama was running for president. Of course, the first major nominee that was African-American in our country's history. So we're getting down to the end of the election. I'm in my office in Tallahassee. It's late October, early November, and we start getting these huge lines of people to go early vote for this historic election of 2008. And of course, it was between Senator Obama and Senator John McCain. So I get a call one day, maybe 5 days out from the election, maybe a little more, from then State Senator Dan Gelber of Miami, a dear friend, now the mayor of Miami Beach, of course. So I get this call from him, and he says, Governor, have you seen on your TV in Tallahassee some of the long lines that we're experiencing a lot in South Florida? But this was happening all over the state, as I'm sure you'll recall. And it was a historic turnout. And he said, I told him, yes, I've seen those lines. It's Florida. It's still hot in late October, and early November. And so a lot of the people in line are senior citizens, not comfortable. And he said, I think you need to do something to make sure our people have the right to vote. And I said, well, what can I do as governor? What do you suggest? He said, you could sign an executive order to expand the hours of early voting. I'd never heard of such a thing. And I said, well, thank you, Senator. I said, I appreciate your advice and your counsel, but do you think I really have the authority unilaterally as governor to open up longer hours for early voting in all 67 counties in Florida? He says, I think you do, but you know what? He said, Governor, you ought to run it by your general counsel, your lawyer, in the governor's office. So I called the general counsel to come down. I said, listen, I just got off the phone with Senator Gelber. He has an idea that I'm certainly intrigued by, to give more Floridians the opportunity to vote in this historic election. And he suggested that I would sign an executive order expanding the hours of early voting. Do you think I have the authority to do that? And he said, no, sir, I don't. And I said, well, why do you say that? He says, well, the statute specifically says that for you to sign an executive order, the situation you're addressing must be an emergency. And I said, okay, fair enough. I said, I'm a lawyer too. In fact, I used to be your attorney general. Let's have a conversation about this for a minute. I said, so you say the statute said it has to be an emergency before the governor can sign an executive order to take some action, whatever that might be. He said, that's right. I said, okay, I have a few questions. I said, we live in a democracy, right? And he said, yes, sir. I said, and people are not being able to submit their vote. They're not being able to literally vote because of the long lines in this democracy we call Florida, right? And he said, yeah, I guess that's right. And I said, I think that's an emergency. If people can't exercise their right to vote, it is an emergency. And I said, so please go draft the order, bring it back down, which he did about a half hour later. I signed it. And that afternoon, the hours of early voting in Florida were expanded in all 67 counties. No one complained about it. No one filed suit about it. They just respected it. And guess who won the election? President Barack Obama. And I can remember talking to then Vice President Joe Biden years later. And he told me, you know, we were all up there watching the election returns, watching how these long lines were building up in Florida. And then all of a sudden we heard that this Republican governor had signed an order to expand the hours of early voting. We could not believe it. And he said, why did you do that? And I said, because it's the right thing to do. You know, and I would tell my then Republican friends who complained to me about it. They said, you know, we think you just threw the election to Barack Obama. I said, well, you can think whatever you want, but let me remind you of something, that when I got elected governor in 2006, I did not get elected the governor of the Republicans of Florida. I got elected the governor of the people of Florida. Excuse me. And I meant it. And it's how I felt because it was true. And then I took an oath and I swore to God that I would uphold the Constitution and I would honor what the people had given me in that privilege of being their governor, their public servant, and try to serve with a servant's heart. And that's what I've always tried to do, whether it's about education as your commissioner of education, about civil rights, which I should touch on one case. When I was attorney general in the last year of being attorney general, just started running for governor. And somebody reminded me about a case, Harry T. and Harriet Moore of Mims, Florida. These were civil rights leaders, some of the greatest in our country's history, right here in the Sunshine State, and how their home on Christmas night, their bedroom, from a bomb underneath, somebody placed, blew it up and killed them both. And so there were a couple investigations done. This was 1951 when this happened. A couple investigations have been done. Nothing had been unearthed. No discovery about what really went down. And knowing that I was going out as attorney general, one of my associates said, you might want to consider reopening that case. And I said, tell me about it. I wasn't that familiar with it. And he told me about the case. And I said, yeah, I want to reopen it. Let's look into it, find out what we can. And so we started investigating. We started digging. And we were able to come to the conclusion that some of the people involved, a couple, were sheriffs of that local area near Brevard County. In addition, we also found out that they had been members of the KKK. Nobody had discovered that before. But my commitment to civil rights, whether attorney general or governor or congressman, has never wavered, never will. Again, it goes back to upbringing. It goes back to the fundamental values that all of us share. And we have a diverse caucus. I know that. And they say it's like herding cats. I heard the comment in the beginning, but it's our diversity that is our strength. And our unity is our power. And I know we're going to be unified in this race for governor. We have to be, but not just that race, but all up and down the ballot. We are going to get this infrastructure bill passed. People are going to be joyous about it when it happens. The Biden administration will get huge credit for it. As I said, he's going to be on CNN in not too long at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central for all my friends in Central Time. But it's going to be, I think, a wonderful opportunity for in 22 to turn Florida blue. And I ask for your help. I need your help. If we win this thing, which I know we can, I will not let you down. And Florida will have a brighter day ahead and a governor back in the governor's mansion who truly has a heart for the people of Florida. Thank you very much.
Governor. Governor,
Yes.
Councilman Chris, thank you very, very much. I have one question before Derek comes back on, if I may, Derek. One thing we're talking about in Northwest Florida is that we have, between here and Tallahassee, there's only two black judges between here and Tallahassee in our judicial system, and that's horrendous, abhorrent.
It is horrible.
And how do you propose to correct that situation if you're like the governor?
Yeah. Well, it's a wonderful question. I appreciate it more than I can tell you. So the last appointment I had the opportunity to make to the Florida Supreme Court, I appointed Justice Perry, Justice James Perry, great man from Central Florida, had served as a circuit court judge with great distinction. And I was very honored to make that appointment. Just like having done then, and others of the 150 total judges I appointed as governor, a significant amount will be minority members. You know how many African Americans are on the Florida Supreme Court right now? 0. Not a one. I get elected, we'll change that as quickly as we possibly can. And I look forward to the opportunity, because that court should look like Florida. It should be as diverse as the Sunshine State herself. And I'm committed to it. And thank you again for asking the question.
Derek, you want to in the seat here, Derek?
Yes, thank you so much, President Gant, and thank you, Representative Chris, for that time and the words that you've expressed. We do have a few questions that individuals in the Zoom at this point in time have committed. So I will start with the first that I have received.
If I might, I have 3 minutes before I have to do another Zoom call.
Okay.
So however many way we can do in 3 minutes, I'm more than happy to entertain.
We absolutely will limit it to this if that's fine for you.
Yes.
India has a population of over 1 billion, and their wait times are far less than what we have here in Florida. What is your plan regarding shortening the lines for people who work or are unable to stand and in those wait times so they can actually cast their ballots?
Well, along the lines of what I just talked about. So it's a great question, Derek, and I appreciate it. Expand early voting. You know, I think in Florida, I would love to see after our election that we declare Election Day a statewide holiday. You know, one of the challenges for so many of our people in Florida on voting day, if they don't take advantage of early voting, is the fact that they have jobs. They're working people. You know, most of our voters are working people, let's face it. And so the only fair thing, I think, is declare that a state holiday. It ought to be a national holiday, frankly. And it's a bill I already voted for during this session of Congress. So I think those are the kinds of things I would look to from day one to make sure that plus, you know, make mail voting easier again, because the governor just signed a bill to make it harder to do mail-in voting. You know, we've got to make voting simpler, easier, more effective for all our people. And to do otherwise is just wrong. So thank you.
Governor, for you.
Last question that we have for you is, certainly you've gone through what you perceive to be what is important for the state to get back to a level of normalcy. Speaking specifically around our African-American community and population, not only here in Escambia, but as well as throughout the state, how do you prioritize what you think is most impactful in terms of what you would expect to do as it relates to our community and the Florida residents?
Well, several things. Number one, make sure we improve our public school system. You know, I know we have great teachers. Listen, I was raised with 3 sisters. 2 of my sisters were public school teachers in Pinellas County, where I grew up. But we have to invest in public education, and that benefits everybody: Black, white, you know, Hispanic, whatever. But it's a fundamental right that each and every one of us have. And if we make sure that our inner city schools are on par with schools throughout our districts, throughout the state, we make sure, you know, that we have great education for all our people. I think that's fundamental. I also think we need to raise the minimum wage. People deserve to make a wage that gives dignity to the job that they hold, to the job that they're doing. You know, it's the dignity of work that so many of our Democratic colleagues talk about is fundamentally important. And training. You know, college is not necessarily meant for anybody or everybody, rather. You know, there are training programs and apprenticeships that help so many of our union brothers and sisters to invest in those and emphasize those so that we lift everyone. All people get a fighting chance. And I think continuing to do that personally in my administration, I want to have secretaries of color. You know, I want not only the Supreme Court, but the head of these agencies to look like Florida. And I commit to doing it. And I look forward to being able to do it with your help and God's blessing. And thank you again for having me.
Thank you so very much. I am going to turn the floor back over to President Gant, if you have any remarks.
Thank you, Congressman. Thank you very much for attending. Have a great evening. Be safe.
Bless you, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
And please know that you're welcome to join us at any other time in the future if you would like and have information that you deem pertinent for us to know and share. So thank you so much.
Bless you, Derek. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending the meeting. Members of the Black Caucus and others, we're going to divert to our membership meeting at this time. We're going to recognize some statewide officers who took their time to attend our meeting. I appreciate that. Trevor Mallory, our president of the Florida Black Caucus, Jordan Pride, first vice president, Easter K. Harrison, the second vice president, Annie German Sweeting, a secretary, and of course our own Jill Lewis Daggs, our treasurer. Thanks for attending our meeting, taking your time to join us in this event. I really appreciate it. Ms. Eubanks, also our state of a county party chair. Thank you, Lily, Leo, and for attending. Others who time to attend our membership meeting. But Leo's also a member of the Black Caucus also. She's a member and the county Democratic Party president. So she's doing several roles here tonight. Thanks, Derek, for putting together the Zoom conference, Derek, town hall meeting.
Before you switch over, I would like to take the time to also acknowledge those other Democratic Black Caucus executive board members, respectively in Okaloosa County, as well as Santa Rosa. Those of you all who are on the call, thank you so very much for attending. We appreciate that. At this point, I do believe that President Gant is going to go into our general business meeting. I invite you all to remain. There is nothing that you can't hear, and maybe you find something that sparks your interest to join the Democratic Black Caucus. If you're in Escambia County, certainly we'd love to have you. Otherwise, if you are in a different county, there is representation to do so. Great thing about it is we are now in the process of our membership intake for all of the Democratic Black Caucuses across the state. Locally here, we are a total of, we will be sending applications out for those current, and anyone who is interested in joining, certainly please feel free to reach out and we will make sure we get you the application as well. Thank you so much. And again, we're turning the floor back over to President Gant.
Thank you, Derek. We'll proceed with our agenda. Went out sometime this afternoon. The agenda did to the membership. And those who have it, please refer to it. Also, the minutes of the last meeting, we have a quorum, by the way. We have a quorum. The last meeting, we didn't have a quorum, but at the last meeting was not a quorum. We went through some things that we discussed at the organization level. Did those get the minutes we sent out this afternoon? The minutes we sent out, did anyone get those at this time? Well, we'll give members a chance to review the minutes at another later date, if you will.
Just a point of clarification. You said our last meeting, we did not have a quorum. We did start the meeting without quorum, but approximately 5 to 7 minutes into it, we did establish that. So we did have quorum, just for the record to reflect in our September meeting.
I'll make the corrections.
Okay, great. Well, we didn't take any kind of action at the last because of the initial action, no quorum. it wasn't announced that we did during the meeting, so we didn't take any votes at that time. But let me go over the thing we did discuss at the last meeting, to be relevant to our upcoming agenda for the day. First of all, we'll go with our treasury report, if you will. This is Petty, Barbara, line, Barbara. Ms. Petty, our treasurer. Barbara. We are our treasury report.
Let me.
I don't think they can hear me.
She's on the line, President Fred.
Well,
What do you want?
we was able to get our PO box a few months ago. Our bank statements are going to a PO box now, rather than to my office. So when Barbara and I have a key to the PO box, I checked it last week. It came in, and and I'll just give a report for Barbara at this point in time. We had no transactions last month. There was $690 in the bank. At the last meeting, we still have $690 in the bank, with no transactions for the month of September to October. Any questions about the treasury report of the funds in the bank?
$690.
Yes, it's still the same amount it was the last several months, $690. Entertain a motion to approve the treasury report, if you will. Any questions regarding the same? If you have questions, please share them with us. And that we'll approve.
So moved as is.
Okay, a second, please. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Okay. We said move the second and approve the treasury report as announced. Those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Those opposed, give the same sign. Going back up to the minutes of last month's meeting, we sent those out a little bit later. We have to transcribe those from our video, Zoom audio recording. Tammy Holly, my secretary, and the Caucus secretary does a good job of transcribing those minutes during the course of the day. She's working here, and she got those down. We get recorded in, I think, Friday or Monday of this week, and she got the transcription down, I guess, for the most part on yesterday. I had to vet them and review them and so forth. So we got them out a little bit later because of that. So I would refer that we approve them at the next meeting, as is with the September minutes. But for purpose of information, let me go through the minutes, what was discussed at the last meeting, if you will. If you want to approve them now, you can, but if you want to review them yourself before then, more so than now, then we could surely do that also. At the last meeting, one more thing first, I'm sorry. The agenda calls for the tech report, and this is important. Well, missed the meeting, and back up again. At the minutes of the last meeting, we can approve them in November. We announced that the PO box has been set up, and that Barbara and I have a key to the box. We announced that discussed our agenda item. We had several months now, training items, material for potential Black candidates for office. And we talked about trying to identify Black candidates to run for office. We has been for the last several months. And we also discussed, again, posting the material to run for office, how to run an office, how to run a campaign, how to get involved in the political process. So those who might want to venture out in that regard. That was suggested that we do some kind of place information on our Facebook page. Those who want to address that can attach that or can access the information from a Facebook page. Also, and really important to our caucus, that we identify Blacks who want to run for office. Really, that we need to do that. We're taking a little slow road and getting that done, but still our mission to get that done. And we'll discuss with Dirk is that once we get a cadre of candidates, then at that point we start sending things out to people individually. But until we do get a cadre of people who wants to run, simply put information on our Facebook page and announce that it's there. I think that was a good idea. Also, the last meeting we talked about speaking with Judy Mount. Judy Mount is vice president for the Florida Democratic Party. She's over in the thing, Mariana, great lady, resource for us here in Northwest Florida. She's the one that gave me Charlie Chris contact info to contact Charlie Chris for a nice meeting. And she also gave me Nikki Freed's contact info also. But Darius is going to contact Nikki Freed as to her when she could come to our town hall meeting with her being the guest speaker. Derek's still working to get that done. At this point, Derek, of course, Nikki Freed have been able to contact her, or more specifically, have we got a date that she'll be able to come?
We will be sponsoring as it stands now, the second of our town hall. So look for Nikki Freed to attend, just as gubernatorial candidate Chris did. It is going to be the third Thursday of the month of September. If I look at my calendar, let me just confirm. That is going to be on the 18th, which is November 18th, same time, same place. I will then also send out, just as before, the advertisement and announcement for everybody so they are aware and can plan accordingly.
Okay,
Will that be November instead of September?
Did I say September? I apologize. I did mean November.
Yeah. And let me thank you, Derek. Let me also say that, Mr. Councilman Chris, tonight's meeting, I spoke with Pamela Ford and also Philip, his political director out of Miami, last week at the downtown Pensacola, and I wasn't where he only had 30 minutes, and we could have probably been just that earlier. So we didn't get as much time as that we wanted with Mr. Chris, but you can call him back for another time. It's a long campaign season to 2022. But the brevity of his presentation was based because we didn't really get that down pat prior to the night's presentation. But we will correct that with Commissioner Freed, Derek. We know how much time she's going to have for us when she comes on, so we can plan a little more specifically for when she appears in November.
Is very good about detailing all of her points and providing them to us prior to, or whomever she's addressing prior to the meeting. So I don't expect the time difference from allocated to actual time spent being an issue.
But she's going to give us points before the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I have a point to inject, please.
That she
Sure.
agrees to,
Sure.
but what she's done for every other club caucus.
Okay. Phil, you want to chime in, Phil?
Just to say that within the past 2 or 3 days, Senator Annette Taddeo has announced her candidacy for governor of Florida too, Democrat, from the Miami area. A credible, strong candidate. So we should check her too, obviously.
Okay.
Phil, what is the name? Or if you could just place it in the chat if you have the.
I'll get it to you. It's Annette Taddeo, but I'll get the spelling to you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Phil, for that information. And then we also discussed at the last meeting, for those who weren't able to attend, I'm trying to organize a fundraiser and a voter rally for at some point. And it's sponsored by Sheila. It's an small event center. She agreed to assist us with that getting done with the membership approval, of course. The membership wants to undertake that kind of event. We can, with your guys' approval and support, but the parameters are have an event at her event center. They have it a situation where it be both Zoom and in person. The agenda would be somewhat of our chance to talk about the Black Caucus of Escambia County, Florida. Opportunity for us to talk about why voting is important, and have some jazz music as an entertainment. As a local jazz artist that I know and committed to working with me on that event once we get organized, and also a membership rally at the same time. So that's the parameters of what it would be like once we get organized. And I'll be back at the next meeting with more detail, but I need some help with that. Remember, anyone to assist me in organizing that type of event. I think it's a good event to have in person and Zoom, have people both options, because a lot of events that happen around the state of Florida, the country really, things open up, they're going both, they offer both Zoom or in person. I think it's a nice time to take on that kind of activity within our caucus. So again, and it would help and the committee to organize an event, whether it be if this is Greens Place or some other place. But I've got committed 2 musicians Gina Rosario has committed to assisting us, and also Chris. He's a bass player, well known in town as a jazz artist. So we can corral those two guys, step at the agenda, get a price range for the light hors d'oeuvres to be served at the in-person event, and those kind of details that we can't decide right now. But I need a committee to get all details down, to cross the T's, dot the I's, and bring them back to the organization, hopefully by next meeting, and get that done. What I share it with you now is sort of we're looking for. And again, if anyone want to work with me on that, got any ideas, please call me. Let's get that thing formalized. I think that we it'll be a nice event. It's like if you have it, they would come. If we have it, they would come. Is my opinion. Also, in the last meeting, we discussed the August 28th voting rally. Derek gave a report. Me and Derek and I both attended. Phil was there too. So was Jill, of course. I was state officer. And Lil was there, and Derek gave a report on the event at the last meeting. And we also talked about the looking for more, and this is important, looking for more speakers to come to our in the future meetings. I think we have more, it's lecture season, of course. More speakers come to the our meetings to speak about their campaigns, as Phil just indicated, this the day for governor, and it would enhance our information about what's going on in the state of Florida, and also draw more people to our meetings. And of course, at the same time, other caucuses around the Northwest Florida and the county party organization been doing the same thing, so we can support each other as we have these Zoom meetings for candidates around for state office and local office also. Actually, seems like the county commissioner race is going to be really heated this year for the county commissioner seat. So invite those guys into our meetings, and those who don't want to go out and can hear them in the Zoom meetings. So I think that's a good way to stay active, have activities at the same time, share information, and also draw people toward what we're doing. And Darren gave a litany of events that occurred already around the Escambia County, different caucuses. That was the crux of our last meeting. Then we go to current this meeting agenda, October 21st agenda for this meeting. We already started with the pledge, and the meeting was called to order. We had the prayer. At this time, I want to we have a roll call, if you will. Who's on the call? Derek, we have a quorum, Derek, since you're the guy who can tell us.
We do indeed. Looking at our current membership as active in this 2021 year, we have Linda Scott, Lil Eubanks, Brian Seifstein, Miss Modest Corby, Phil Air, excuse me, I apologize. Fred, of course, Barbara Petty, Tammy Holly, and I'm not sure who IPHOP is as it stands.
Sandra McQuarrie. I just switched from my computer to my phone because I have rehearsal in 15 minutes. So I just switched over.
I appreciate that.
Sandra McQuarrie is still here. Yes.
And also Mary Dillon. So that gives us, inclusive of myself as well as you, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. A total of 11 members.
Right. Super. Thank you, Derek.
And I do want to also take the time. I apologize that we inadvertently missed one of our Democratic Black Caucus Executive Board members. So I would like to just recognize Mr. Ellis Hodges, our current parliamentarian, for attending as well. And thank you for that. And again, I apologize for the miss.
Okay. Thank you for that, Derek. And welcome, Ellis, Mr. Hodges. Thanks for coming. And that's what I want to go to the agenda and talk about. Derek revealed the new. Derek attended the statewide Black Caucus meeting in Orlando. Was it September, Derek? It was October or September, I think it was.
Well, there were two. The first of which was the September 12th meeting, and for the quarterly meeting that includes the caucus leaders or the executive board for all the caucuses, specifically the president and vice president. I did attend that in Orlando as well. And again, that was on the 25th of September. Did you want me to elaborate or share anything?
Yeah, please give some detail, particularly about the new guideline timelines for the membership renewal, if you would, please.
Absolutely. So certainly in this meeting, it was the first that I'd ever attended, and I found it incredibly beneficial and valuable for as a member, not necessarily following within the guidelines of those who attended, but actually attended, was very valuable. One of the main tasks was to walk through our existing bylaws, article by article, page by page, sentence by sentence, to make sure that we were in alignment and doing what is right for members as well as those Florida residents. So we did go through, and Jill, correct me if I'm mistaken, I do believe we went through a total of 9 of the existing, maybe 7, I can't remember which of the 2, of the articles, thank you, 7 of the articles in order. So just to give you some heads up, one of which you should expect is going to be around membership and the process that it entails. For those who are familiar, you know, every October that begins our membership process for not only our club, our local caucus, but as well as for the state. What you will see differently this year is that dues, traditionally as they have been indicated for into the state by March, that is not going to be the case going forward. That deadline has moved up by January. So by the end of January. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, am I wrong?
He's correct, but that won't be until next year. So although we are changing it in the bylaws, because the bylaws have to be completed and then voted on by the executive committee and then sent to the membership and then voted and then sent to the FDP, this year they will still be due on or before and no later than February 28th. So postmarked on or before and no later than February 28th. But the following year for 2023, it will change.
Thank you. I was going to indicate that, but I want to make sure that we start our practice early so that we aren't, we get used to and accustomed to the change. For those unaware, the current membership fees are going to be as follows. For individuals, and this is what you may see as slight change from what you may be familiar with in prior years, but any individual above the age of 65, whether they are a returning member or new, are going to be assessed a total of $15 for the state dues and $15 for our local dues, and that makes it a total of $30. That same pricing strategy also includes those who are deemed student with a student rate as evidenced by an ID or something from a verification standpoint that you are in school. The way it reads, certainly I would not say that you have to be school age to be in school, but I assume that it would apply to anybody who is involved in a continuing education standpoint outside of a general high school standard. Those who do not fall in that range, either as student or senior over 65, it is going to be a $35 assessment for the state and $15 locally, which is a total of $50. So a little different from what you may have done so in the past, but just as an FYI, that is going to be the case. Also in that, some other information that has come out of that, we do have the Black Caucus has a new logo that is in use right now. I apologize, I neglected to bring it up, but I can as I'm speaking on the other side. But you can see that, and I will share that shortly with everyone. We also, in that process, have a new Facebook webpage. There isn't a drive at this point in time where all individual members are being asked to go in, look at the Facebook page, like and follow. That is a drive that is going to be a contest between the other existing 24 chapters, and those with membership who actually do that and are indicated as such. I'm not sure what the prize is or what would be deemed to the winner, but that is something that we are looking at. So I will ask for those of you who are on Facebook to please make sure you go to the DBCF page, and that's Democratic Black Caucus of Florida. If you do not currently follow, please make sure you like and follow. And I will also ask that you do the same for our Black Caucus webpage. Certainly, we are Escambia County Democratic Black Caucus on Facebook, and we have a separate profile that is indicated as Escambia DBC. So if you see that, please make sure you send either a friend request for the profile and like and follow the Escambia County Democratic Black Caucus Facebook webpage. I will also include for you, for those who are unaware, we do have additional points of communication. We are on Facebook as well as Instagram as well as Twitter. If you're not certain on the handles and you'd like to follow, certainly I will include those in the chat here momentarily. If you have direct questions, we are on WhatsApp, Signal, and certainly you can reach out either via email or telephone. I will also include those pieces of information in the chat as well, so everybody's familiar with them. As far as next steps, we do have an upcoming meeting for the Democratic Black Caucus State Executive Board that is going to be in December from the 2nd to the 5th in Orlando as well. Location is going to be the Rosen Center Hotel. Please make sure if you're, this also coincides with Leadership Blue for the Florida Democratic Party. So hopefully you'll make every effort to attend that. And if you have time, certainly feel free to reach out and say hello, as we will be in attendance to both as well. And I think I've covered everything that's pertinent at this point. So with that, I will say thank you and to return the floor to President Grant.
Thank you, Derek. Anyone have any questions about what Derek has shared with us? Any questions at all? Hello? Did I get cut off?
No, you're here.
Okay, I'm sorry, but my screen is blank. My screen is blank. My screen is blank and says has the time and the date and no pictures. So good. Okay. I think that they're going to get information, and we're going to start our membership renewal early this year. We're going to make sure we get it done at least by January, if you will. We'll start at next meeting, get a committee. In the past, it's been Sandra, myself, and Barbara. For the most part, in the last couple of times, I want to expand that, particularly Barbara leading the way, and the secretary also being involved more so. Get our T's crossed and I's dotted. Now, one thing about the membership, Jill, you're still there, Derek? The last year, our membership package got to Jill somewhat belated. And in doing so, the people, that being the case, the renewals came in at a time when there was a vote, even they paid for the year, that year earlier, because of the time frame, they still received the packet. They were still eligible from the, I guess, from the last membership. If you would, we just explain that, Jill, that's how that works about. That's still in place where the date certain has to be in. If not, membership rolls over. There we go, rolls over. Explain that to us. Thank you, Jill.
Hi, everyone. So if you join October, November, December, which is fourth quarter of any year, you roll over for the next year. So let's say you join in October of 2021. You don't have to pay membership dues again until the next year, 2023. So you can pay again in October of that year, or you can wait till January of 2023. You don't have to pay October 2021 and again in January. However, if you join in May, June, July of 2021, you would have to then pay your dues again in 2022. So we've kind of grandfathered in the fourth quarter. Doesn't seem fair to ask you in the fourth quarter if you're joining the Black Caucus to then pay your dues again. So that's just making that clear, and then also making it easier, makes the membership drive in October a good time to bring people in because they won't have to pay again, literally for 15 months.
Thank you, Jill. And with that being said, they're going to discuss this last night, our membership that our last renewal last year, some members fell into that category, and some pay, they get you a twice review because that what you just shared with us wasn't effectuated because I wasn't aware of it to that extent. So they paid toward it, but didn't have to because what happened last October. So we're going to go through our records, if you will, and those who want to pay, that have to pay. We'll share with you what in terms of your membership that you paid in February or January of last year, but then to get posted to October. We was aware of that until the time came. Jill made us aware of that in this past spring, early spring, and then we'll reconcile any monies that we may have overpaid because of that grandfather rule. We'll get that situation straightened out. So I know Derek is working on that, so we'll get to get that done. And if anyone wants to the refund, they can surely get it at that time. So want you guys to know that, and we'll correct that as we're going forward. So we give it Barbara and Tammy and Derek in particular, and we're going to go to peruse the records and see how we can reconcile and, if you will, reimburse people their monies if they choose to do so, and they can donate it to the cause. It's their choice. Okay. I think we sort of.
President Gant?
Yes.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure, of
They
course.
also could do, so let's say you had somebody who paid in October of 2020, not knowing they were grandfathered in, and paid again in January or February of 2021,
Right.
which means they have 2 years. You could just tell them they don't have to pay for 2022, which is now, and just notate that on the membership form that you turn into the state. If they want to continue, that means they don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry about refunds because they paid 2 years technically already. So they would be paid for 2021 in October. And then in January, when they paid again, they actually were paying for the next year, which is right now 2022.
Okay, great. Thank you for this for suggestion and the insight. I appreciate that. I'm helping. I'm asking that Derek is on top of it, of course, but asking Barbara and Tammy and Sandra to help me get through this thing. Okay, so we can all make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's and going forward. Okay, thank you.
I also would like to just share for those unaware, nothing publicly has been communicated, but just so those of you all who are members of our local chapter here, if by chance you might be interested in serving in the capacity of the community outreach committee, which is not just Escambia, but it is going to be for the entire state of Florida. I have been recently asked to serve as the committee chair or statewide committee chair lead for Black Caucus for that program. So as such, I am going to be looking for those who might be interested in offering, sharing ideas and things of that nature, who can devote some time to doing so and get us all in great shape. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that. And Derek has been really involved in the local Black Caucus, of course, the county DEC, if you will, and the state Black Caucus also. We appreciate Derek involved in the time he takes to do that. Time is always a premium, and Derek to take this time so forth to keep us in the know, as they say, in the know, up to date what's going on. Derek, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Derek. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'll make sure I'll be at the December meeting in Orlando. Be next to drive down there during the winter time. A little better weather in December in Orlando than here. Should be a good drive for me.
Yes, certainly. If you need accommodations, I do believe a communication was sent out on a couple of occasions for make sure that they have you marked and accounted for the meeting on the 2nd through the 5th. So if not, I certainly would recommend reaching out to our state treasurer, Ms. Daggs, who can help you get those accommodations if you have not already done so.
Great, super. I have not, but I will be looking forward to that. We reach out for Jill. Also, anyone else who wants to attend the statewide is open to anyone. Anybody can come. Is that right, Derek? The meetings, they can't vote, but they can attend the meetings, of course.
I don't believe that is the case, but I will defer to Jill to determine if that is accurate or not. But I'm not sure if that is actually the case. It typically I think it was reserved for the president and first vice president, and I did the meeting in September in place of. So I'm going to assume that is the policy, but Jill, if you don't mind, please elaborate.
Okay, so in normal non-COVID times, the meetings are open to anyone. However, the only people who can speak and or vote are those people that are on the executive committee, which would be your current president and now Derek as the outreach chair from Escambia County. And then if your president couldn't come, you could of course send your first vice, Ms. Sandra could come, or any of your officers. However, with COVID going on, I would say this, President Gann, if you're coming in December, I do need to know by tomorrow to make sure you get a hotel room. And I know it's super early. It's not the way we normally do it, but because Leadership Blue also falls on that same weekend, there is a concern that the hotel that the FDP has is going to overflow to our hotel. And I just want to make sure, even if you change your mind, go ahead, let me know what you think you're going to do. The meeting's on Friday, December 3rd. The actual executive committee meeting is on Friday, December 3rd. I think 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock our time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we'll probably go till 4 or 5. And then, of course, Leadership Blue is Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you have other people that want to come, if you could let me know, because we have to set up true COVID protocol. So everybody has their own desk. They have, your food is delivered to your desk. You're 4 to 6 feet apart. Derek can tell you, I'm like super meticulous on trying to make sure that we are not going to be one that's going to help you get COVID. I'm going to do everything, temperature checks, hand sanitizer. And like I said, you literally have your own desk. All your food comes there. We deliver your coffee to you. You never have to get out of your seat except for to go to the bathroom.
Wow.
But you're more than welcome to come. I just need to know ahead of time so that we can get a room big enough. So last time in September, we had 23 people there and then 23 people hybrid online. This time I already have 36 because the executive committee has grown. We now will have technically 50. They're not all coming. So if you do have somebody in your membership that wants to come or come with you, just let me know so I can make sure I set up the correct parameters. Again, post-COVID, or if we ever get back to some sort of norm, then you can bring a whole team down if you'd like.
Okay. I do see that Mr. Hodges as well as Lil's hand are up. So I will get to you just shortly. After, I want to say, for those who are interested or would like to attend or going forward, I will say that for me, this was the only event that I've attended since COVID, and understanding Jill's attention to detail in her process, I never felt more safe in an otherwise unsafe environment. So with that, if you have concerns around that, certainly I would recommend speaking with her, and those who are planning events in the process. Certainly I would also recommend talking to her on how to as safely as possible, and I don't know if it gets any safer unless COVID completely dies out, to plan and organize an event. So thank you for that, and thank you, Mr. Hodges. I thought I saw you.
Yes.
But from Lil.
Yes, I did raise my hand, and I wanted to say a couple of things. But first, I want to acknowledge seeing Ms. Scott and Ms. McCorvey, two long-time, good-time educationers in the state of Florida, in Pensacola. They've done a yeoman's job. It looks like, according to our secretary, our treasurer, I'm going to be needing to recruit some assistants because I'm the sergeant at arms with all of the testing that she's going to be doing. But I thank you for inviting me to the meeting. And I would like to say, I don't know if you remember or not, looking at Charlie Crist and listening to him, the third person into the race, Annette Tadeo, was his running mate when he failed to achieve the governorship a few years ago. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out. That's the only thing that I'm wondering. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but it's kind of strange that she gets into the race.
Thank you, Ellison. Appreciate your insight. Phil,
Yeah.
want to say something also? Derek, Phil?
No, Lil.
No, Lil, I'm sorry, Lil. Okay, I'm
That's
sorry.
all right. I just wanted to say that I don't know if Brian has left or not because I can't see with the view, but Brian Siefstein and Diane Crummell, who are our state committee man and state committee woman, will be going to the Leadership Blue. And I'm sure that if there's any way they can, help out. And if you guys go over to, do some of the Leadership Blue workshops, they have a lot of good workshops planned usually. And I won't recommend anybody going to the dinner maybe on Saturday night. It's usually like $300 a person, but there's other places to eat in Orlando. But you get to feel like you're part of an expensive gathering. But anyway, I won't be able to go this year, but I have before, and they usually offer lots of good workshops on Saturday. If y'all aren't, involved with other Black Caucus stuff.
Thank you, Lil. Appreciate that comment.
Unaware, Lil is our chair for the Escambia County Democratic Party. So thank you, as well as a member of our caucus here in Escambia. Thank you.
Fred, can I share one other thing? Because
Oh,
Lil brought it up.
Yeah, please, Jill, please.
Lil, we purposely moved our meeting, just so you know. Usually it's on Saturday and we moved it to Friday, so anybody that's going can participate in all of that stuff. And she's correct, the seats at the dinner were $200 if you purchased them back in August. I have no idea what they are now, but I will share with you that this is the first year ever in the Democratic Black Caucus history that we had 30 people sign up. So we will have 3 tables. And if anybody's interested, I do believe we have 3 extra tickets because 3 of those people can't come. They would be at $200 and not the now $300 plus. But for the first time ever, I'm not quite sure. I think they were COVID tired and it had saved up some money or something. But it's awesome for us because we'll be well recognized and well represented throughout not just the dinner, but the whole event. But it does give you a great opportunity to meet with, like Lil said, the other DECs, DWCs, the Environmental Caucus, the Disability, it's everybody. And also, hopefully they'll bring in the speakers and all of that information. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Linda Scott, if you don't mind unmuting, I did see that your hand was up. I don't know if you still have a question or a comment.
Oh, no, that was a clap. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna return to the meeting agenda, if you will. We was at 7:13 now. We shouldn't be much longer. The things we need to discuss again, in particular, is one thing is we still need to, of course, as mentioned many times before, our efforts outside of our meeting in terms of actual on the ground work. We decided we're going to work with the party at this juncture and activities so we can plan some of our own, which we must do. So I encourage our members to stay in tune with the county's party activities. They do it every Saturday. Tune in what they're doing and just join them in their efforts to register Democrats of all persuasions. But also this Saturday, October 23rd in Wedgwood, Lil, Wedgwood having a rally against spouse abuse and women's rights in the park, and in the park was Saturday in Wedgwood. 3K Young Park at 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll call you offline and talk in more detail, but it'd be a great time to get some of our members, your members, to also attend the graduate event for voter registration on Saturday, October 23rd. I'll be in Fort Walton Beach in the NACP convention. I'm just going to speakers over there, so I can't make it this Saturday, but we can get someone over to Graduate Park on Saturday midday. Maybe get time to get some particularly Black voters, people to register to vote in Graduate Park. So that's this coming Saturday. Basically,
Thank you, Fred. I'll pass that on to Cindy Martin and see. I think they're also going to have some voter registration people at. I think it's the. Is it Legion Field, where there's a big football gathering this weekend?
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
I think. Isn't that where the May Center is?
Correct. Exactly. You're right.
Yeah. So I was told that I think Neil Tabbitt and Marilyn are going to do some voter registration there. And while I have the floor, I'm just going to, I'd like to say a couple things coming up that I'd love for y'all to participate in. One is we're going to be having our holiday party that we usually have, but it's going to be outside. It's going to be at Lexington Terrace Pavilion on December the 12th, I think is the right date. Yeah, from 2 to 4. And we'd love for you guys to be a co-host. I was going to send you out an email about that today, Fred, but didn't get to it. But hope some of y'all can come. And also, we're working on trying to get a booth at there's going to be a Latino festival on the 14th of November. That's a Sunday. It's going to be from noon to 8, and we're going to try to get a vendor's place spot. And we'd love to have you guys come and work out of that vendor spot if you'd like. I'll be sending more info.
Okay. Thank you, Leo. Appreciate that information.
I would like to take a second before you move on to the agenda, just to tell everybody, if you don't already, I know quite a few of you do, please make sure that not only are you engaged with our local caucus or Black Caucus, but you actually get involved in the Escambia County DEC with respect to their meetings and their opportunities there. Certainly, if you have questions with respect to how to do so, you can reach out to me. Currently, I'm serving as the appointed. Sorry.
No, you've been elected.
Yeah, that's why I had to clarify myself. The elected vice chair for the Democratic Party for Escambia, so second next to Lil. And one of my things of personal points is to make sure that we increase representation within the not only as Black Caucus, but certainly involvement in activities within the DEC locally as well. So unlike Black Caucus or any other caucuses, membership in the DEC only requires you to be a Democrat and to complete a membership application / loyalty oath, but there is no fee or charge to be involved. So thanks.
Thank you, Derek. I was going to thank you, Derek, for that comment. He's exactly right. Efforts, we're one party with many different compartments. We got to always remember that as we go forward. Thank you, Derek. I think we hit most things on the agenda for the night. Usually we go with and good for the announcements of events coming up. Derek usually shares with us what's happening around town for the parties concerned. Anything that Lil had mentioned there, you want to share with us in terms of events happening the next coming up?
I think we've covered everything. I know in addition to the canvassing that was referenced at Legion Field, I do believe that there is a canvassing activity. I'm not sure what precinct it is, but they are going to be meeting this Saturday from 2 to 4 at the CVS located on 9th Avenue, and then going to the neighborhood respectively. For those of you all who are interested in joining that team of folks who are going out canvassing, please let me know. If you're unfamiliar with the process, it is simply knocking on doors and hopefully getting individuals who are currently unregistered to register, and certainly register as Democrats so that we can increase our presence here locally and hopefully see a difference in what we currently have thus far. So thanks for that.
And I'm going to butt in, that's the CVS at Fairfield and 9th, because there are several on 9th Avenue. And just to let you know, that's precinct 72. And at last numbers I checked, precinct 72 has only 94 more Republicans than Democrats. Only 94. And it has a good number of about 190 some NPAs. So picking up a few Democrats in that area would be very nice.
Certainly, it goes without saying, just if you have not or are not familiar with the whole canvassing and voter registration process, don't let that prohibit you from attending should you have the desire to do so. You will be paired with an experienced canvasser who can walk you through the process. But certainly, if you still feel uncomfortable, every week, and you can find the detail I included in the chat, but there is a website that is used throughout the state for all Democratic and other, I guess, other events and activities. I won't say it's strictly Democratic because I've never gone through all of the events, but there is information on there as it pertains to Escambia and the state and Okaloosa and Santa Rosa, and any place that you have overwhelming desire to participate and engage, please feel free. The virtual events that are listed, certainly you don't have to be a resident of those respective counties or a member of their DECs. You can participate as is, but saying that, every week there is a voter registration training hosted by one of our former members, Keith Hardy, who is also now on the executive team for FDP, as well as Cindy Martin, for those who may know her as well. Some of our current membership have attended and attend on a monthly basis. So, you know, if they have comments, certainly feel free to chime in. Otherwise, just make sure you look for those. And again, that's Mobilize. That's MOBILIZE. You can find it in the chat.us. If you're unfamiliar with the site or how to use it, please reach out to me, and I am happy to kind of walk you through as far as setting up an account for your personal use so that you can register for the events and activities that are up.
Great, Derek. Appreciate that. We're working together. We get the other caucuses, the environmental caucus, the LGBT caucus, the women caucus, and the like. So we got to get a bit of crescendo and momentum going to the elections for next year. So it's like the time is now to do that, and we are working as we can. We got to keep talking about the Black Caucus, the Democratic Party, the election, to our friends, our neighbors, our church members. Got to keep spread the word one by one, because we can't afford to lose in November. DeSantis has to go. DeSantis has to go. Okay, no doubt about that. And we do all we can to ensure that our Democrat win that seat, return Florida blue in 22. So with those remarks, anything else to go for the order, the next meeting?
I don't believe so, but certainly those of you all who are guests, Ms. Sampson and the like, again, Jill and Ellis, thank you so much, as well as Carrie Arrington on our call. Thank you so much for attending tonight's meeting. We certainly do invite you back for the next meeting, always on the third Thursday of every month at 6 p.m. You can find us on Facebook if you have questions, and certainly on behalf of the caucus, I do say thank you again and hope that you continue to remain engaged.
Yes, we need your help. Thanks for coming. Motion to adjourn.
Take care, everybody.
Okay.
Movement, second. So thank you for that.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a
All
good
right.
evening.
You guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. Be safe.
Thank you so much.
My sisters and brothers.
Good
Good night.
meeting.
Thank you. Good night.